exams. Now, one day in the life of an EU assistant, there are issues that you ask. So where is the place of work? Which EU institutions can I work for? And the most practical, fundamental part of it is, what are my typical tasks? I am through the competition, I'm recruited, and then what are the typical tasks that an EU assistant would be dealing with? Now, the place of work is a relatively straightforward issue. The vast majority of EU officials, and especially when it comes to different assistant positions, are taking place or are actually located in Brussels. Part of it, some of it is in Luxembourg. The city of Strasbourg, where officially the European Parliament and the European Ombudsman are located, they only employ very, very few staff on the ground. So Strasbourg is mentioned, but de facto, in fact, it's Brussels and Luxembourg where you are most likely to end up working for the different institutions. Now you may ask, fine, but which are these institutions? If I apply for an EU job, does it mean that I'm going to work for the European Commission? Is that the only possibility, or is it determined already at the time of application that you're going to be working at the European Commission? Or are you going to work at the European Parliament or any other of the EU institutions? Well, the answer to this question is essentially that you are going to apply for these exams, which is administered by EPSO, the European Personnel Selection Office. But the actual place of employment, the recruitment itself, it's decided, as a main rule, it is decided at the moment of the recruitment itself. So once you are through the two-phase exams, the pre-selection and then the assessment center, once you are through that and you are placed on the reserve list, being placed on the reserve list, meaning you are eligible for recruitment, that is the moment when, based on the vacancies, based on the number of places, the demands of the different institutions that are listed on the screen, that's when they will say, we offer you a specific job in the Committee of the Regions. That's when we offer you a position in the Council of Ministers. So you may have personal preferences, but this is actually only going to come to play when it's the moment, the time of the recruitment. Now, which positions are actually available? So what is on the menu right now? As you are most likely aware, there are two main categories where EPSO is currently recruiting, where open competitions are currently happening. One is the AST1. AST obviously stands for assistant. AST1 is the entry level for the assistants. And there's AST3, which we tend to call senior assistant, because that requires more work experience, more years of work experience, something that we will see in a moment. For AST1, these are secretarial positions. For AST3, there are three domains or profiles: finance, accounting, communication, or project management. So when you choose, you need to choose within a profile. So what do I mean by that? That you can apply for an AST1 position if you are eligible. We'll look at the eligibility criteria. And you can also apply for the AST3. There is no exclusivity that you need to choose between AST1 or AST3. The choice needs to be made when you are applying for an AST3, whether you go for finances or communication or project management. So you choose one single domain. So you may apply for AST1 as a secretarial position, and at the same time, provided you have the necessary eligibility, you meet the necessary eligibility criteria, you can apply for AST3 communication. Here's the emphasis on the fact that you can apply for both. And now we look at, as promised, a day in the life of, first we look at an AST1, meaning a secretary, and then we look at a typical day or daily routine and tasks of an AST3, that might be a project manager or other. So for a typical tasks, as I would explain, is staying on top of your inbox. So as a secretary, obviously you're the first point of call. You are what they call the gatekeeper of your superior, the head of unit or a director or other superior, staying on top of your inbox, organizing his or her life with your own necessary tasks, organizing a meeting for the director, attending meeting, taking notes, drafting and formatting the minutes of a meeting, having lunch, obviously, gathering data for a briefing, editing documents, transmitting that for review. So this is what secretarial jobs in the EU institutions would entail, and the reason why it's important to understand is that you will be aware of these tasks, and the reason why EPSO is going to be testing you on different aspects of it to make sure that they do test the skills, the competencies, and the knowledge that is necessary to perform these tasks when you are recruited. The typical tasks of an AST3, and what I took here as an example, is a project manager in DG Regio, which the Directorate General of the European Commission for Regional Policy, is organizing a project team meeting, revising milestones of a project that might relate to a certain structural fund program in Estonia, or another one related to Portugal. Preparing an on-site visit, checking the status with other directors general on the project, because there might be environmental aspects to it, there might be internal market aspects to it, so it's a coordination with other colleagues in different directorates. And you say a unit meeting and brief report on the state of play of the project that you were entrusted with.